Hello One Piece enthusiasts, welcome back to another video. I am the One Piece nerd, and let's talk about Buggy. So, as of chapter 1053, Buggy is now an emperor. What do I have to say about that? Here are my thoughts, but I'm a little surprised about how much the fandom is sort of pissed off about it. I didn't expect this much of a backlash. So in order to address that backlash, I think I have a significant amount of reason as to why you shouldn't be angry. Let's begin. So last time when Buggy became a warlord, it happened because of, circumstances. Number one, warlord's spot was empty and Buggy took it. It was necessary for the world government to replace a warlord, and Buggy was a perfect candidate because he had a significantly decently sized crew with a fairly strong ones, more than enough to become a warlord. Remember, warlord status at that time was not so high. There was a one-man army called Mihawk and some other crews. You remember Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria wasn't even that strong. He was strong but lazy, but he was a warlord. So Buggy became a warlord by happen chance, and this time, I don't think it's a fluke. I don't think Oda made Buggy an emperor of the sea just because of memes. So the memes were obviously there. Buggy being an emperor has been, Buggy said it himself, I'm gonna be one of the four emperors, or, I'm gonna stand with the emperor someday, or whatever. Something he said in Marineford, and that became true. And I don't think it's just because of the memes. In volume cover, if I remember 25, we saw some sort of a foreshadowing of Shanks, Buggy, Luffy, and Blackbeard becoming emperors, forced on the four corners. In the middle, you got Sengoku's goat, or whatever you call it. Or Sengoku, rather. Anyways, so it was a foreshadowing way, way beforehand. It doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of things because of how well reputed the four emperors were. Big Mom Kaido, Shanks, and Blackbeard, or even Whitebeard for that matter, were exceptionally strong with exceptionally strong crews and had a lot of influence on the rest of the world. They were strong enough to handle most other crews and went toe to toe with each other. Buggy going toe to toe with Shanks, Whitebeard, Blackbeard, very unrealistic if you ask me. Unless something crazy really, really happened, or, the world government didn't see fit as to make anyone else an emperor. So, why wasn't Law and Kid emperors? Because crews of Law and Kid are not that strong. As of now, we don't know how many of, Kid and Law have, extended crews like the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Luffy has Straw Hat Grand Fleet, has allied himself with Fishman Island, Dressrosa, as well as Wano, as well as Zoe, and maybe a little bit of Alabasta as well. He has a lot of influence on the rest of the world. He is a fairly strong pirate himself. He has a very good crew. That's why he is an emperor, and he defeated an emperor, even if it was with, presumably by the world government, shared with two other rookies or, worse generations. He is still considered to be an emperor because he was already a candidate to begin with when he invaded Whole Cake Island. And it was very easy for Luffy to become emperor at this point because of his previous feats and because of his power and his influence over the world. As for Law and Kid, they definitely didn't meet those criteria. Again, Luffy's bounty comes into play again. If Luffy is that influential, why is his bounty the same as Law and Kid? That's for another video. But for Buggy, what could it be that happened within the last 14 days that made him an emperor? We see Green Bull talking at the end of the chapter, saying that the world isn't at a good shape right now, and you guys are celebrating. I don't like that. The Marines are in trouble, the world government is in trouble, and the world is in chaos. Something along those lines. Which goes to show that we have no idea about the outside world. Just as Law said, they might know what happened inside, but we have no idea what happened outside. Which is true. We don't know what happened within the past 14 days. The reverie is over. Something happened in the reverie. Something happened with Sabo, and the warlords were supposed to be captured. A lot of things were supposed to happen in the outside world within these 2 weeks, where the Straw Hats, 2-3 weeks, where the Straw Hats were busy dealing with Kaido. Now, among them, the number one reason why I feel that you know, not number one. Okay, let's not talk about number one yet, but let's talk about a decent reason as to why Buggy was made an emperor. He's awakening. Buggy's awakening to our imagination could be a little overpowered. Alongside the influence he has over the underworld and everything else, it's highly possible that with that level of influence, I don't think any other pirate aside from Buggy and, Blackbeard and Shanks and Luffy has any sort of an influence right now. Leaving Law and Kid aside, if you're talking about armadas and fleets, Buggy is the only one with a lot of connections. That makes perfectly sound reasoning. And maybe that's not enough. Buggy's crew isn't that strong. Numbers alone won't do it, and Buggy's crew, as of we know what we know, isn't that strong because Hajiruddin was his top commander, and Hajiruddin is nothing but a Luffy. And that cannot qualify for an Emperor crew. Second reason as to why I think Buggy was made an Emperor was because of him handling the Marines very easily. He was trying to run away, but maybe he actually took the Marines head on and stopped fooling around. Maybe he is a serious character. Maybe he is a strong character that we have yet to realize. Maybe he's awakened his devil fruit. He's had his devil fruit for God knows how long. Ever since he was in Roger's crew. And for him to awaken his devil fruit right now isn't so surprising, if you ask me. With all of these devil fruit awakenings we've seen in the past 3 to 4, in the last, 10-20 chapters, I wouldn't be surprised if Buggy has awakened his devil fruit or has managed to gather himself quite a few allies that are strong enough to make him become an emperor. The final reason as to why I think Buggy is an emperor is because maybe some very influential people in the world has actually joined Buggy's crew. Now, who could those be? Boa Hancock is another kind of person who would be willing to do that, but someone who might do that because of the scale, because the world is in chaos, is Crocodile and Mihawk. Mihawk, as we remember, is a one-man army. He was chased by the Marines. He could definitely handle them. There might be few reasons or some reasons as to why some of these people, I'm not saying Mihawk joined Buggy because, he was in a tough spot, but rather maybe some more influential people that we have no idea about, that are very prominent figures in the New World probably joined Buggy because of his influence, and maybe at this point because of a little bit of his power. In order for Buggy to become an emperor, I'm saying that Buggy definitely unleashed something within his power that made him that big of a deal, where people would be willing to join him. People would think that he's strong enough to become an emperor or strong enough to lead them. Maybe there are people within the New World right now, in these utter chaos, trying to find a home from the emperors. Like, Kaido is now defeated. Kaido had a lot of allied pirates with him, maybe. Big Mom probably doesn't, but what I'm trying to suggest is the world is in chaos right now, and it would be a good idea for a lot of the pirates in the New World to make an alliance against the Marines. Not an alliance with the big figurehead, someone like Buggy who already had influence to, do that much. Maybe I'm talking nonsense, maybe there is something completely utter bizarre incident that made him an emperor, but I'm just pulling out what I could think in my head. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's managed to make himself a fleet with so many people joining him. And his influence over the underworld. That's far-fetched, but I'm like, I am willing to give it a shot. Aside from that, really, maybe, just maybe, the pirate Shanks was talking about with the Gorosei was Buggy. He sort of knew that Buggy was going to be this prominent figure. He knows Buggy more than anyone else in the world right now. really only saw him when he was an apprentice. Shanks is the only one who sort of knows Buggy's true potential. Buggy might try to act a little foolish at times, going into East Blue, doing shenanigans, somehow coming into the Grand Line and becoming a warlord. I think Shanks realized something and maybe warned the Gorosei about Buggy, or, influenced the world government to make Buggy an emperor. That could also be a case. Shanks probably knew that Kaido and Big Mom was gonna be taken care of, and the balance of the world would be hanging. So it would be a good idea for Shanks, as a balancing figure, to introduce a pirate that had a decent influence with a decent power to make someone the emperor. That's it. That's all I had for today's video. I don't think we should be pissed. Let's wait until we get more stuff from the outside world. Wano is definitely not over. There's still more to go. And until next time, then I hope you're satisfied. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.